Hey MCAT students and parents, I'm Ken Tao, Director of MCAT at MedSchoolCoach. We wanted to give you a peek behind the curtain to see what it is like for students to get MCAT tutoring from our expert tutors. You will see how our tutors begin by evaluating each student's strengths, weaknesses, and goals. Using that information, our tutors will craft a customized study plan designed to fill in the gaps and allow students to reach their target score. All of this is mapped out on a study calendar so that students know exactly what they need to do for their MCAT preparation every day until test day. You also see how our tutors break down complex science topics with interactive content lessons and teach effective test-taking strategies and techniques in strategy sessions. The approach that we've developed for MCAT prep works extremely well. Our students increase their MCAT score by an average of 10 points with this approach. Take a look at the personalized online learning experience.
Hi Madura, welcome to MCAT Tutoring with MedSchoolCoach.
Hi.
My name is Alex Starks and I'll be working with you for your upcoming MCAT prep. Are you excited to get started?
Yeah.
Great. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we are going to design a customized personal study plan for you. And to do that, I'm going to ask you a few questions so that I can better understand your situation and help identify any strengths or weaknesses.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing is, have you been able to take all of the classes that are tested on the MCAT?
No, I haven't. I still need to take biochemistry and sociology, but I won't be able to until after my MCAT.
Okay, not a problem. We'll just spend some more time and energy going over those topics during the content review. Are there any other subjects that you feel particularly uncomfortable with?
I feel weak in physics and organic chemistry. Those classes were a little bit more difficult for me.
Got it. And it's probably been a while since you've taken those.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes total sense. Okay, well, we'll definitely have more practice and time going through those topics. So what is your target MCAT score?
I'm looking at about a 512. That's the average for the medical school I want to go to.
Great, that is a very good reason to pick your score. And have you taken a diagnostic exam yet?
No, I haven't.
Not a problem. We'll get that scheduled here soon. And do you have a test date scheduled?
I do, September 12th.
Great, so we have some time. All right. And have you started studying or reading your content review books yet?
No, I haven't started studying anything yet.
Okay, not a problem whatsoever. And how many hours do you think you can allocate for MCAT studying per week?
I think I should be able to study about 25 hours a week, but depending on the week.
Great. That's a good amount of time. And are there any vacations or final exams dates that you can't study coming up?
Yeah, I'm actually going to Mexico from July 1st to the 7th, and I have finals in May. But other than that, nothing else.
Oh, fun. All right. Well, we'll definitely get that scheduled in. So that about wraps up the questions that I had for you at this point. Did you have any questions that I could answer for you?
No, none that I can think of.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started designing your study plan. At MedSchoolCoach, we have found that a very comprehensive and personalized study plan to be key for a successful MCAT prep. We need to make sure that we have everything mapped out from day one all the way to test day. And so the first thing I'll have you do for your study plan is actually take a diagnostic test. You won't have to review it because we'll do that later. And then right after that, we're going to jump into content review. Content review is a vital phase because we need to be exposed to all of the content so that we can get more out of the practice questions in phases 2 and 3. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. So that second phase is non-AAMC practice questions. And we'll talk about where to get those questions later. But this is going to help us identify any lingering content weaknesses.
Gotcha, like physics and organic chemistry?
Exactly, like physics and organic chemistry. So our final phase of the study plan are AAMC practice questions. Now, we need to make sure that we complete every question that they make available, including all of their practice exams. This is particularly important because it's going to provide the most representative and realistic practice for what you'll experience on test day. Do you have any questions about the study plan design?
No, I don't think so.
Great. Let's go ahead and talk about doing your schedule. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do on your study schedule is a diagnostic test. I have that scheduled for this Friday. Does that work with your personal schedule?
Yep, it works for me.
Great. Now, I'm not going to have you review that test because you'll take it later. I'm just going to have you go into the content review right after that. Now, it's really important to also incorporate a lot of CARS practice during the content review and the practice phases of the study schedule. And that's why you have 2 CARS passages listed as a to-do each day that you go to MCAT study. Now, the content review phase will take about nine weeks for you because you can study about 25 hours a week. And our aim is the June 20th as our deadline. It's flexible, so it doesn't have to be that date, but that's our goal. After that, we're going to transition to our second phase. This is going to be the non-AAMC practice questions. I've incorporated your vacation to Mexico here from July 1st to the 7th, so you won't have to worry about studying during that time. And we're going to wrap that phase up around July 20th, it looks like. And that will be when we really start to ramp up and do all of the AAMC questions. You don't have to worry about the order, the sequence of the AAMC questions. Have them all planned out for you already. And that's going to take us all the way to your test date on September 12th. So you'll be very prepared by that test date, having taken all of the AAMC questions, answered many non-AAMC questions, and have done all your content review. Have you any questions for me about your study schedule?
No, this looks great. Thank you.
Great. So the next enzyme we want to know for the MCAT is the hydrolase. Do you recall what type of reaction this enzyme catalyzes?
Hydrolysis, I think.
Bingo. And we're going to start by looking at a very common hydrolysis, which is the ester hydrolysis. And that's going to be one that you do want to know for your MCAT. Ester. We'll start by drawing the ester out, as well as what we're going to react it with. Now, this hydroxide molecule, do you recall from your studying what kind of molecule this is?
I think it's a nucleophile.
Perfect. This is going to be the nucleophile. Just note it like that. Do you know how the nucleophile, or where the nucleophile will attack the ester?
I would guess the carbonyl carbon because it has a partial positive charge.
Excellent. Absolutely. And if you weren't sure, we can just look for partially positive centers, and that will probably be where the nucleophile attacks.
Okay.
Now, to jump forward, we're going to see that we form this carboxylate as well as ethanol. Any questions about this general mechanism before we look at a specific biologically relevant example?
No, I think it makes sense so far.
Great. All right, so we're going to talk about pepsin. Do you recall where pepsin is found in the body?
I think in the stomach.
Absolutely. So this is found in the stomach. And what sort of pH environment is in the stomach?
I think acidic.
Perfect. So we know that the pepsin is going to be, its activity is going to occur when it's in an acidic environment. Now, pepsin being an enzyme that's made up of amino acids, though really the only way that it can catalyze the reaction is by using one of its amino acids to do that. In this case, it's going to be an aspartic acid residue. And that aspartic acid residue is actually going to act like a base. That base is going to steal one of these protons from a water molecule. Now, if we look at the next step, what we have formed is a hydroxide. And do you recall from our previous ester hydrolysis how that hydroxide acted? What sort of molecule was it?
I think it acted as a nucleophile.
So the nucleophile. And so where did that nucleophile attack?
It attacked on the carbonyl carbon.
Yep. So we know that we're going to attack the carbonyl carbon steal because it's that partially positive. Now there's one more thing we have to kind of consider here. So when it attacks, that carbon has too many bonds. So we have to do some electron transfer. And what'll happen is the electrons from one of these double bonds will come up to that oxygen. Now if we transition to the next step, we see that they have the negative charge on that oxygen here, and that's from the electrons moving. What will happen now is the electrons come back to reform that double bond, and then this amide bond is hydrolyzed. That's the breaking of this bond here. Next step, we're going to see that can see that there's a break. There's two parts of this peptide now. And this nitrogen, we're not quite done because this nitrogen has a lone pair of electrons, and that lone pair is going to allow it to act like a base and accept this proton. that leaves us at our final state where we have a negatively charged carboxyl terminal. So I'll just say C terminal. And a positively charged amino terminal. Any questions about this mechanism or how it might show up on the MCAT?
No, I think it makes sense now.
Great. Now this question asks, which graph shows the expected levels of 5-HT in the tissues of the mice on a high-fat diet from experiment 2? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to determine what in the world is 5-HT. Do you recall what the passage says about that?
Well, in the first sentence, it says that it's a signaling molecule synthesized by TPH1.
Bingo. So that's the important part there. Now, if we examine our answer choices, we can see that we also need to determine what PCPA is in all of these. Now, what does the passage say about PCPA?
Well, the third paragraph says that PCPA is an inhibitor of TPH1 expression.
Perfect. Now, if TPH1 makes 5-HT and PCA inhibits TPH1, how does PCPA and 5-HT relate?
Well, it looks like TPH1 expression increases in white adipose tissue, but only when there's a high-fat diet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we know that for the high-fat diet, when we have the white adipose tissue, our TPH1 goes up. Now, how about TPH1's relationship to brown adipose tissue?
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, this one is a little trickier because looking at figure 1, for the white adipose tissue, we see this asterisk. And so the asterisk, of course, is going to indicate a statistical significant relationship, but we don't have that for the brown adipose tissue. That's important, and we can use that. We can leverage that against the answer choices. Do you see any answer choices we might be able to rule out with that information?
I think we can rule out B and D.
Yeah, perfect. We rule out B because in the brown adipose tissue, that's our error. We rule out D because, again, in our brown adipose tissue, we can't have any increased TPH1. Now, the next thing that we'll look at is the differences between A and C. What are the differences between A and C?
Well, answer choice A shows that there's a high TPH1 expression with PCPA, but in C, the TPH1 expression is high in the saline condition.
Perfect. Now, what did we say PCPA was?
We said that was a TPH1 inhibitor.
Perfect. Now, what does that mean for the answer choices here?
Oh, I think that means answer choice C is correct.
Absolutely, because we should not see increased 5-HT in any PCPA condition. Very good. Really good job analyzing those figures. Something that makes MedSchoolCoach unique is our student portal. After each session, our tutors write a report and provide valuable, personalized feedback that students can put into practice right away. This is also where students are able to download the notes made during the session, as well as the video recording. Rewatching tutoring sessions is a fantastic way to help reinforce not only science content, but also the strategies and skills that are necessary to be successful on the MCAT. All of this and more is what a student can expect from tutoring with MedSchoolCoach.
Hi, it's Ken again. I hope this video provided insight into how our tutoring approach works and boosts your confidence that MedSchoolCoach is right for you. If you have any questions, our enrollment advisors are here to give you a free consultation whenever it's convenient for you. We look forward to helping you on your medical school journey and on the road to becoming a physician.